Okay, today we're going to be looking at creating your own podcast artwork. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to your internet browser of choice. I'm using Firefox. You can use whatever you like. And in google.com, we're going to type in GIMP, G-I-M-P. And the first result should be this GIMP GNU image manipulation program. So we can go straight to downloads. Depending on what type of computer you have, if you've got a Mac, PC, you'll have different ones. So this is GIMP for Mac. We want GIMP for Mac. GIMP for Windows is also available. So I'm going to download it directly. We don't need to worry about BitTorrent. Then once you've got that, you can save that file and open it. That will give you this program down here, GIMP 2.1. And make sure that it is GIMP 2.1. If you've got an older version, re-download it so that you've got the latest. Because what we're going to do is we're going to open this program. But before we do anything in it, it's loading up here. We're going to go back to Firefox. We're going to go to canoefm.com. We'll go to podcasts. And then the wiki. Once we're on the wiki page, we can scroll down on the artwork tab. You can get this file here and just put in your own picture and your own title. So click there to download the template. It's going to open this up. Can't preview it. That's fine. Just say download. And we want to save that file too. So now once it's downloaded, we can go into GIMP. Then we can go File, Open. We're going to go to our downloads. And what was that called? It was called Podcast. Yeah, Podcast Cover Art Template. And we're going to open that up. Okay, so there we go. We've got Terry. We've got a host photo. So this is where most of our action is happening over here. Here we've got the Canoe logo. We can show or hide with this button. Here we've got Terry's photo. Can show or hide it. And then the same with the backgrounds. So let's work with the photos first. So if we want to get rid of Terry, we can just right click here and then scroll all the way up to delete layer. So we're going to delete his layer. Then we can go to File, Open as Layers, and find a photo. So let's see, we've got Robin right here. So we're going to bring Robin in. I'm going to say convert. This is just asking you about colors. It doesn't really matter. Can spook you if you see the message, but okay. So now we've got, let's move him out of there. I don't want him with the backgrounds. It's just a little organizational thing. So I'm going to double click here and I'm going to say Robin pick. So now when we had Terry's in here, you could see straight through, you could see the background. With this one, you can see the room that I took it in. We don't want that, so we want a way to get rid of everything in this photo that's not Robin. So to do that, we're going to go up here. We're going to find this tool. If you hover over, so if you put your mouse over and then just let it sit there for a second, it'll show you the name of the tool. We're going to hover over this one. This is our Paths tool. So click that. You'll see this funky little icon come up, and what you can do is each time you click your left mouse button, you create a point. So I'm going to create another one, and what we're going to do is we're basically just going to trace around Robin with this outline. From this far away, it's going to be tough to be exact, so I'm probably going to zoom in. You can hold Command or Control, depending on whether you have a mouse or a Mac or a PC. use the scroll wheel on your mouse. So I'm going to add some more points. I'm just going to trace around. It doesn't have to be perfect. The more time you take, the more points you add in, the better the shape will be. For the sake of this, I'm not going to go too slowly and carefully. The hair can be a challenging part to figure out exactly which hair you want to leave in, which one you want to take out. So again, just kind of roughly going around. If this is your show, you may want to take a little bit more time, but for this, I think we'll be okay. These bars down at the bottom will move the screen around. Okay, so once we've got that, I'm going to zoom out a little bit and then hold the Command or the Control button and click on that very first point you created to complete the shape. So now it's all linked back up. So now once we've got this with all our white dots everywhere, we're going to go over to this left-hand side here and hit Selection from Path. So that converts that shape that we just drew to a selection. We're going to go to Select and Invert, because we just basically selected Robin, but what you actually want to select is everything that's not Robin. So we're going to invert the selection, so now you can see he's not selected, it's selecting everything else in this photo. And what we could do is we could just delete it right now, but there's a couple little tricky steps that we want to remember. So if we just drop this in, we got to right click and we have to add alpha channel. That just basically means we're going to add a transparent layer to the background. So if we delete the stuff behind Robin, it won't be solid black. We'll be able to see straight through it to the background that we put in there ourselves. So we've added an alpha channel. I'm also going to go up and say feather the selection. It just basically cleans up the selection a little bit more, so it smooths out the edges a little bit. So now that we've done that, we can go Command X to cut, and that should cut out the background all around Robin. And there we go. So I'm going to switch to this box select tool, and I'm just going to click once just to get rid of all the selections. So you can see up at the top of the head, there's some pointy bits there. If we'd taken a bit more time, we'd have been able to get those nice and smooth. And you can, kind of round them off and get them to be nice, clean edges. But for me, that's pretty good. We've got Robin in there. He looks a little kind of washed out compared to how vibrant the colors are there. So I'm just going to go up here. We can go to colors, and then we're going to go to brightness and contrast. So I'm just going to increase the contrast a little bit. It's a bit much. That looks good, and we'll kind of darken him down slightly. So that makes him look a little bit more like he's blending with the background to me. And then speaking of the background, we can click this plus button, get into these layers. So for Planet Halliburton, we've got, let's see if we can hide most of this other stuff. We've got this sort of planet shape here. We've got this leaf cavern kind of shape. So for your show, you may find that you want something slightly different. So we'll delete this layer. We're going to delete this layer also, these invisible layers. And the first thing we're going to start with is the background color. So I'm going to pick, let's say, a nice dark blue. You can say OK. And then we'll go to our paint bucket here. And you can just, as long as you're selected on this side, you can just click anywhere you want. It'll take a second, but it'll paint that blue. So we got this nice blue color. Let's see how Robin looks in there. Looks great. Got the Canoe logo back in there. So now let's take a look at this last section here where we put the show title in. So we're going to go back up to our toolbox here. We're going to hit the text tool, and you can double click and it will ask you if you want to edit this text. We do. So we're just going to delete all this, and then we can put in Canoe test art. And we can select that. We can change this size if we want. You can change how spaced apart the letters are if you want. And you can change the font. Once you're happy with it, you can shrink the size up and down. Then you're done. You got your podcast cover art and you can save it. So that was just a quick little look through at how we create podcast art from our template.